Today we are going to talk about a glomerulotubular balance and its importance in the process of urine formation and keeping balance in the urine formation process. So glomerulotubular balance is simply the ability of the tubules, the ability of the nephron tubules to increase the reabsorption rate in response to increased tubular load. If the amount of fluid that is filtered here in the glomerulus is increased, then the amount of fluid that is reabsorbed in these tubules also increases. Now, this mechanism, this glomerulotubular balance, is more pronounced in the proximal tubule, although it may occur in the loop of Henle as well, but it occurs mostly in the proximal tubule. Now, for example, normally the amount of glomerular filtration rate, GFR, the amount of fluid that is filtered here per minute is around 125 ml. 125 ml per minute. Out of this 125 ml per minute that is filtered, around 81 ml is reabsorbed. Now this 81 ml is about 65%. This is about 65% of this 125 ml. If this 125 increases to 150, for example, if the glomerular filtration rate, the amount of fluid that is filtered here, it increases from 125 to 150, then the amount of fluid that is reabsorbed in the proximal tubule, only, not in the loop of Henle or the distal tubule, in the proximal tubule, it will increase from 81 ml to around 97.5. Now this 97.5 is also 65% of this 150 ml per minute. So no matter what the amount of fluid that is filtered, around 65% of that fluid get reabsorbed. And this process is glomerulotubular balance. This process is more pronounced in the proximal tubule, and it occurs to some extent in the loop of Henle, and the purpose is to decrease the burden of fluid on the distal tubule. Now, this is basically a second line response against the fluid overload. This is a second line response, the glomerulotubular balance. We have previously discussed the autoregulatory mechanisms like the tubuloglomerular mechanism. The tubuloglomerular mechanism, in which whenever the amount of fluid that goes into the distal tubule increases, these tubules send some signals due to which the amount of GFR, the amount of fluid that is filtered, is decreased. That process is known as tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Now this process, which we have discussed, is glomerulotubular balance, but that feedback mechanism is tubuloglomerular mechanism. Now these processes helps in proper urine formation, and it has been shown that this glomerulotubular process can occur in kidney which has even been removed from the body. And sometimes in some experiments it has been shown that even some nephrons have been removed independently from the kidney, and this glomerulotubular balance has been shown and has been reproduced in those nephrons. So the idea behind this is that there may be some hormonal and neuronal changes involved which leads to the increased reabsorption in these tubules in response to increased filtration, but it's not necessary that this glomerulotubular balance process is altogether dependent on hormones or body structure changes, because it can be seen in kidneys which has been isolated from the body. So mostly it is assumed that this process, this increase in reabsorption process due to increase in filtration, may be due to the increase in pressure, that occurs due to increase in filtration. So there are a lot of hypotheses and a lot of theories which explains that why this process occurs, why when there is a high filtration there is high reabsorption. So a lot of mechanisms are involved, but no matter what, these two mechanisms, the glomerulotubular balance and the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanisms, they help to decrease the burden on the distal tubule, they help in proper urine formation, and they help to decrease fluid overload. Thanks a lot for watching the video.